Hello class. Today we're going to do Chapter 11, Belief Systems. How do we explain the unexplainable? Here we have about 10 religions that are key religions on the planet today. From Buddhism to Islam, Hinduism, Taoism, Judaism, Christianity, Jainism, Sikhism, Confucius, Shinto, Baha'i, and then native spiritualities. I've said this before. Every human society is established on the same foundation. Language. Language to connect, to communicate, and to create cooperation in economic needs. From technology to food to shelter to tools. And we organize by kinship, family, marriage. And every society has art, and every society projects mythologies about existence, about identity. These are things that bind us together as Homo sapiens, as the human race, not divide us up into different categories that need to dominate this part of the world or that part of the world. Each one of these religions has that at the core. Love the other as yourself. Each one of these religions is the foundation. But yet, in an economic system of domination and hoarding, the mythology then is interpreted to support that kind of behavior. The universality of God. This is going to be Joseph Campbell. One of the reasons I'm in anthropology at all is because I was very curious growing up as a grade school kid and a high school kid as to why there were so many religions and why they were all thinking that they were the truth compared to the other religion. And if there's one God, what's going on here? Joseph Campbell was one of the first people that I ran into when I was about 28. A series of videos called The Transformation of Myth Through Time, in which Joseph Campbell was giving lectures to scholars and academics. Those lectures were above my head. At the time, but I knew there was something there. The videos that we've been watching of Joseph Campbell are from an interview that he did in 1984 about that is titled The Power of Myth. It really synthesized this a lot more clearly. What do you think God is? Who is God? Where is God? Why is God? When is God? Think about that for a second, and I'll play you this video from Joseph Campbell.
وجاءك في هذه الحق وموعظة وذكرى للمؤمنين.
We want to think about God. God is a thought. God is an idea. But its reference is to something that transcends all thinking. I mean, he's beyond being, beyond the category of being and non-being. Is he or is he not? Neither is nor is not. Every God, every mythology, every religion is true in this sense. It is true as metaphorical of the human and cosmic mystery. He who thinks he knows doesn't know. He who knows that he doesn't know, knows. There is an old story that is still good. story of the quest, the spiritual quest. That is to say, to find the inward thing which you basically are. All of the symbols in mythology refer to you. Have you been reborn? Have you died to your animal nature and come to life as a human incarnation? You are God in your deepest identity. You are one with the transcendent.
And what is the transcendent? The transcendent are those things that we can't comprehend in our mortal form. Those things that, as an emergent species, constantly growing and maturing and learning about the world around us and about ourselves, there are certain things we won't understand maybe ever, but certainly for a long time. Those are the transcendent. Those are the things that are the mystery of our existence. He who knows doesn't know. He who knows he doesn't know, knows. If you think you've got it, then it's set in stone. The growth, the maturity, the emergence that the mythologies allow us to go through, if we interpret them as metaphors of growth, is stopped. Though those who know they don't know continually grow and mature in the mythologies. Today we're going to look at definitions of the supernatural, why people develop belief systems, types of beliefs, ritual, revitalization movements, and a summary. Also, I put a handout with this chapter of some of the key theme of the top 10 religions, and it comes down to the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. How well do we follow that today? Here's a little talk about Western and Eastern religions.
It started with a sin, you see. In other words, moving out of the mythological zone, the Garden of Paradise, where there is no time, and where men and women don't even know that they're different from each other. The two are just creatures. And God and man are practically the same. He walks in the cool of the evening in the garden where we are. And then they eat the apple, the knowledge of the pairs of opposites. And man and woman then cover their shame. They're different. God and man, they're different. Man in nature is against man. I once heard a wonderful lecture by Daisetsu Suzuki. You remember this wonderful old Zen philosopher who was over here? He was in his 90s. He started a lecture in Switzerland, and I heard in Ascona. He stood up with his hands on his side, and he said, God against man, man against God, man against nature, nature against man, nature against God, God against nature. Very funny religion. Now, in the other mythologies, one puts oneself in accord with the world. If the world is a mixture of good and evil, you do not put yourself in accord with it. You identify with the good, and you fight against the evil. And this is a religious system which belongs to the Near East, following Zarathustra's time. It's in the biblical tradition, all the way in Christianity and Islam as well. This business of not being with nature, and we speak with sort of derogation of the nature religions. You see, with that fall in the garden, nature was regarded as corrupt. There's a myth for you that corrupts the whole world for us. And every spontaneous act is sinful because nature is corrupt and has to be corrected, must not be yielded to. You get a totally different civilization, a totally different way of living, according to your myth as to whether nature is fallen or whether nature is itself a manifestation of divinity, and the spirit being the revelation of the divinity that's inherent in nature.
Don't you think that Americans, modern Americans, have rejected this idea, this Indian idea, this ancient idea of nature as revealing the divinity, because it would have kept us from achieving dominance over nature?
Yeah, but that's the biblical condemnation of nature that they inherited from their own religion and brought with them. God is not in nature. God is separate from nature, and nature is not God. And this distinction between God and the world is not to be found in basic Hinduism or Buddhism either. I'll never forget the experience I had when I was in Japan. To be in a place that never heard of the fall in the Garden of Eden. To be in a place where I can read in one of the Shinto texts, the processes of nature cannot be evil. When every impulse, every natural impulse, is not to be corrected, but to be sublimated, to be beautified. And the glorious interest in the beauty of nature and cooperation with nature and coordination, so that in some of those gardens you don't know where nature begins and art ends. This to me was a tremendous experience, and it's another mythology.
And it's the mythology that then is written from those cultures to project what those cultural dynamics and goals are. It's interesting that Einstein said the most important question we need to answer is if we live in a hostile universe or in a friendly universe. A human universal, religion dates back to the beginning of the human species. No religion is more evolved than any other religion. E.B. Tyler, one of the founders of anthropology, saw religion as beginning with animism, the notion that all objects, living and non-living, are imbued with spirit. Religion/magic. The difference between these two are based on the economy and the technology that creates population size. As populations grow, religions change, the mythologies change to fit the behavior of the new lifestyles. Early on, foragers didn't have necessarily gods. They believed in energies. They were equal entities on this planet, with life on the planet. So their mythologies reflected that idea. The names religion and magic were given by Western European patriarchy as it spread through the world and demeaned everybody else's religion while lifting theirs as the only truth. So religion and magic. Religion is a social process that helps to order society and provide its members with meaning, unity, peace of mind, and a degree of control over events they believe are possible. This deals primarily with supernatural beings. Magic plays the same role. It helps order society, provides its members with meaning, unity, peace of mind, and a degree of control over events that they believe are possible. But it deals primarily with supernatural forces. This is a change in perception, not a change in God.